Hey everyone, welcome back to Spiritual Journey. And with me, Colleen Jorgensen, I'm your astrologer and your spiritual guide. So I'm really excited for 2022. It's going to launch us into some new spiritual avenues, optimism, and excitement. So we are going to start out, we open this new year right away with a new moon on January 2nd today. And that new moon arrives at 11:34 a.m. Central Standard Time. 11:34 Mountain Standard Time, 12:34 Central Standard Time, 10:34 Pacific Time, and 1:34 Eastern Standard Time. It arrives in the sign of Capricorn at 12 degrees. And this degree generally brings happiness and good fortune. So that is something we have to initiate and open 2022. And a new cycle begins, a new beginning. So spiritually, this is the perfect time and the perfect moon to grab yourself a journal and begin to write your spiritual quest for the new year that is arriving. So generally speaking, with New Year's resolutions or New Year's intentions, we do really well to kick them off in January, probably because we have a limited availability in our activities due to the colder weather in the northern atmosphere. And so we start out really well in January. And then by mid-February, we're starting to wane off and we're starting to go into new old patterns of behavior. And so what is positive about 2022, and some of you could have started actually in December with this approaching new moon, that you kind of went, I really need to change something. And so spiritually, this is the perfect opening to do so, and the stamina and persistence to keep at it. So this is the perfect time to grab yourself a journal to begin for 2022 and open up the new page and write down some of your New Year's resolutions. I think there's probably just some really specific things that you want to jot down. No pressure, just begin that cycle of keeping track of what your year is about and how it begins to unfold. So do this it's not journaling necessarily. It's writing down specific goals, intentions, but all throughout the year, as we progress throughout the year, these are times when we want to keep track of what it is that we're doing and where we're going. So it's not necessarily a journal. It's more like a hopeful, optimistic catalog of our journey. And in that, we can write our gratitudes and we can write our affirmations as they unfold and the year unfolds. So this, of course, is perfect timing. Capricorn is the sign of structure, business and governments, your career goals, your status, your leadership. And so Capricorn is the perfect sign to begin to work on some of these hard subjects that we all deal with in life and how we want to improve ourselves and our status. and where that leads us. So let's open with this new moon and that journaling and write down perhaps what has happened briefly at this new moon. And because it's going to arrive into a full moon later on in the year. So this is a very conservative sign. It's sure-footed as it takes a methodical approach to climb that mountain. And so we make slow progress forward with this. It's not like a big bang kind of a theory. We're focused. We're returning to a seriousness in life and our future projections, our future goals and ambitions. It's extremely productive moon, which is drawing us back to the basics and back to some stability within our lives, grounding ourselves into that sure-footedness and to regain control of where we believe we've lost control. And so that is establishing not the rules and the parameters of government laid out things, but our own rules, our own boundaries, and our own limitations. So this could unfold into perhaps somebody has infiltrated your life or began to control, and you want to reestablish some of those boundaries, those rules of engagement. So this is the perfect time to do that. We could also see some new government rules and regulations being enacted at this new moon as well, and perhaps some balancing and power shifting that's happening. And so these things will be coming forward in the month of January. So the ruler of Capricorn, of course, is Saturn, and Saturn has been a really dominating force for us. December especially kind of wrapped up 2021 all in this nice little package that said we are returning to the old ways and the old restrictions and the lockdowns and regulatory systems as Saturn made its last square of 2021 with Uranus. And so this brought about a new strain of COVID. It was limiting, and a lot of people were shaking their heads and kind of going, not again. Do we have to do this again? And so this new moon on January 2nd is certainly going to promote some of those new parameters, especially if some of us have gotten the vaccines and we're kind of going, well, does that really matter? These rules, do they apply to us as well? So Saturn is in Aquarius. And Aquarius really likes to break from tradition. It doesn't like to follow the status quo. And the battle between Saturn and Uranus has really kind of created this polarization between the status and the changing of our environment, how we do business. So it's brought about some positives in the midst of our restrictions. Working independently, new technologies have emerged, the advancement in some of the sciences with the new telescope, also the advancements in vaccine, not just with COVID, but with malaria. So there have been some really new advancements in technologies, working from home, the ability to communicate with other people through medium for platforms. And so the resistance is more polarizing through, should we be going in this direction or shouldn't we be going in this direction, and those advancements and limitations. And so it can be isolating, it can be alone, but it also gives you some ability to work within your own parameters independently. And so there could be more protocols arriving with this moon, and that vortex of survival in what you believe is the correct direction to go in. And now is the time to think about those things and your perceptions and how you view things heading into 2022. And what it is that you want to change with these boundaries, these rules, and these new ideologies that are surfacing. It can be extremely productive as you move and shift those lines. So Capricorn is also a bit protective. It goes from the top down. So governments, leaders, and those things could be changing. The dynamics of our leadership could be changing. So governments making like some unpredictable moves, and some changes as they are looking at 2022 as well. Some new leaders could begin to arise, and out of that, some old leaders could begin to fall away. So with the December 4th solar eclipse, we kind of seen a bit of that. Desmond Tutu, unfortunately, has passed away. And some other significant leaders and in our lives. So as those begin perhaps to wane away, we can see new leaders stepping forward unexpectedly and taking the stage. So that presents a real positive energy unfolding. The positive of this new moon is the moon and sun, who are together, are going to trine Uranus. And Uranus, of course, is the ruler of Saturn in Aquarius, or the new ruler. Saturn used to rule Aquarius. And so Saturn here in Aquarius is quite stable and really focusing on the humanity, what is best for the group versus what is best for the lone individual. And so in that way, it's been positive. You know, the moon is trine to Uranus, and this is going to bring some really positive aspects into 2022. This is a really adventurous, open-minded connection between the new moon and Uranus. And Uranus is in the sign of Taurus. So this is where we kind of look, you know, what is it do we value? What do we deem important in our lives? And who is important to us in our lives? Who do we want to bring along on our journey in 2022? So this brings originality to business, unexpected opportunity to ventures. And so this also can bring some twists, some turns, and excitement into the new year. And the working with new technologies, inventions, new enterprises are going to start to spring up. So if you have an idea for a new business, if you've been really thinking hard about starting a new venture, this new moon certainly signals that this is the time that you want to establish your platform and you want to get everything in order and planned. So new enterprises could be springing up, new ways of doing business. and they could be arising out of nowhere. So listen to your muses. If you wake up and you hear somebody or something whispering in your ear that you need to venture off and you need to do something with some grand idea, then please write it down. Write those dreams down as well. And so we have this new wave that is emerging in 2022 with these innovative ideas. And so both Taurus and Capricorn are earth signs. They ground us, they create stability. Even though we're now in the age of air, we perhaps are grounding some of those ideas now and bringing them into our reality. So that grounding is going to be a driving force to the ability to produce something that is long-term and enduring. So this earth and bringing it into our reality is really important. The spontaneity, the spontaneous energy, glimpses into our future and what that future looks like. And so it's exciting and stimulating. People are going to begin to release themselves from the restrictions that we've perhaps encountered. So a restriction is a perceived thing. It is, the boundaries can be moved in whatever direction we wish to put those boundaries. And so you can have freedom in a very small space through those technologies and through medium, which is Aquarius, which is the higher octave of Mercury. So we get this real stimulation of insight into our futures. And so this is why this is such a great moon. So people are already beginning to shift those parameters, saying, you know, I'm doing really well from home. I'd like to work from home. It gives me my liberty. They're starting to change the structure of their business models. You know, is how are they working in these business models? And they're moving that now into the mainstream of their businesses. And so this is a professional awareness that emerges, that society and the way we function in business is shifting. This is the move to independent careers, freedom of expression within those careers. It's adventurous. It's a fast moving because we're in Aquarius. And there's so many possibilities here. So Uranus, of course, is in the sign of Taurus. And the planet of Venus has been doing her spin around with her retrograde station. And so what she is doing is important to the unfolding of this new venture, new business model. And Venus has been connecting with Pluto. And she made her first connection with Pluto in direct station on December 11th. And then she went retrograde on the 19th. And so in her retrograde station, of course, she has to pass by Pluto once again. So this connection between her and Pluto is a conjunction. And this also is a new beginning, a launching off of a new platform. So Venus in retrograde also has a new birth. So she is going to begin her new cycle around January 8th when she is burned up in the sun through her inferior conjunction, and she will reemerge over on the other side and have her rebirth shortly after that. So she will rise as a morning star. So when she rises as the morning star, she is a new warrior, the rebirth of a new energy. And Venus is about our relationships, our partnerships, our financial stability, about what we value, what we like, what we love to have in our life. So when she first made her first connection with Pluto, and her journey with Pluto is very significant through her retrograde station. Pluto is a planet of elimination. It is a planet of garbage. It is the ruler of the underworld, of those things we don't like to have or take a look at. The garbage, the criminal aspect within our society, and the dysfunction of often. So Pluto is obsessiveness, often greed, and rules the wealthy, the super rich, and the super powerful. So Venus conjuncting to Pluto begins a new cycle of what we love, what we like, what is important to us. And it's going to be significant with the trine between the new moon and Uranus. It's going to play a significant role. So this Venus and Pluto is going to say, what do I want to start new? Who do I want beside me? What do I love? What do I value? What is important in my life? And why do I want to bring that in 2022? Who do I need to get rid of? What is obsessive? What is possessive? What is overly controlling in my life that I need to move out of and restructure and change the dynamics of that to rebirth something new? So you really get this really strong indication of you got to sit down, you have to write those intentions, write those projections about what you love, what is important, who is important to you, who do you want to keep. And you have to watch that you don't get obsessed into a fixation upon one specific person or one specific goal. You have to kind of make sure that, yes, you have a goal, but you don't want to get obsessed through this retrograde station. And she doesn't turn direct until the end of January, so you need to be cautious of that. With this, we're breaking down old systems. We're birthing something new with Pluto here. And we're opening up new channels of this dynamic between these two energies. So this is how and where we want to establish that grounding, that feeling of security, safety within our systems, and who we feel comfortable with. Who do we love? What do we want to bring around us? So this is important also because there can be a great deal of purging happening here with Venus. If you're sorting through closets, your fashion, your makeup, how you look, and your presentation in the world, that can be shifting as well. Do you want to be more authentic? Do you want to pretend that you're something that you're not, perhaps, with that power control energy of Pluto and that dynamic? So I have chosen to launch, really, even though I've launched this station last year, I've chosen to be authentic. I don't want to do editing. I don't want to do those things to make sure that I'm perfect, because I'm not perfect and I'm just human. And so Aquarius is the human element to things. And so that's what one of the goals I want to set is I want to be authentic. I don't want to be something necessarily that I'm not. And so if I make mistakes in the future videos, that's just going to be me. So this is the dawning of some new perceptions in many ways, but it's the dawning of new structure being implemented as the old structure is broken down with Pluto in Capricorn. And the breaking down of that dysfunction can be a result of leadership. So we certainly can see some new leaders emerge into governments, onto the business platform. And we can see some new establishments and new business rise. So this is a very creative energy, actually. Just because Uranus is there, it's extremely artistic. Out of the blue, things can begin to move and transform. And you can kind of feel this inspiration that's rising. And so, it's funny. I see blue every time I talk about this new moon. So blue is a very healing aspect as well, and Chiron is associated with this new moon as well. So we can get a lot of healing energy emerging with this moon. And Chiron is in the sign of Aries, and it's squaring this new moon. And so it's about 4 degrees apart. And so when you get this square, this kind of says, you know what, I've got a problem and I need to restructure or do something about this. So Chiron in Aries is about self-healing and the healing personal journey that you want to take in your own lives. And so this square to this moon indicates if you do set goals and parameters, if you do start a business, which can be quite challenging, or you do start a new career or profession, you could really find that takes away from your health. And so you're going to have to really be consciously aware of that these two energies, however positive they are, you have to be mindful that your health is looked after. So take the time to think about those things, your health, your beauty regime, your dress code, your fashion, and your appearance outward, your status outward into the world. So be creative. Bring along with you music, theater. Write down your inspirations, no matter how silly or stupid they may sound to you at the time. Strive towards your own independence in your own space. And so this can bring about a time of igniting and promoting cooperation and working together. It can be sympathetic towards other people and the assistance that we want to bring to the table to help those other people. And if you have an idea, I'm not saying necessarily share that idea, but if somebody comes to you, this is the perfect time to assist them in whatever way you can in the perspective you see within their plight and their journey. So this can open up some channels of cooperation and high expectations going forward. We have 2 really fortunate energies here with the fixed stars. We have the fixed star of Acela, and Acela is connected to the fixed star of Nuki. It's hard to pronounce these fixed stars. So we can have this indicates good fortune, lasting happiness, and new influential friends coming into our lives, valuable gifts, and a love and respect of the feminine energy and the goddesses, even though this is a real more male energy emerging. So Nuki also is truthfulness and optimism and the religious mind, according to Robson. So it is positive and expanding energy and brings with it a strong need to move forward and stabilize your life. So I hope you open up that new journal or that new book and you look at that blank page and you begin to write down your New Year's resolutions, your intentions, and perhaps your manifestations, your affirmations of what your projection is for 2022 and your goals, because this moon is the perfect time to set those things off and running. I wish you all the best. Join me in the future for some spiritual guidance, some meditation, because I'm a certified meditation instructor. And of course, the journey of the universe and the unfolding of astrology as it begins to manifest in our lives and influence us to a great degree. So I wish you all well in 2022 and start your book because I'm going to start mine. And I will see you in the next chapter later in the month with the full moon and popping in with maybe some card reading or other things like that. So have a great day. Have a great journey in 2022. And I will see you soon. Bye-bye.